Add a romantic touch to your home with this easy to follow DIY rose knot heart wall hanging. Happy New Year and welcome back to Macrame. My name is Nicole and today I will be showing you guys how to make a DIY rose knot heart-shaped wall hanging. So for those of you who are new here, this channel offers everything macrame related, from DIY pattern tutorials to helpful tips and tricks videos. So if you guys are interested in learning more macrame, then click that subscribe button. So Valentine's Day is coming up, and what better way to add a touch of romance to your home than to make a heart-shaped wall hanging using rose knots. So the rose knot is a super versatile macrame knot, and that is because there are several different ways just to make a rose knot. The rose knot version I will be showing you in today's tutorial is a super neat and sturdy knot that is tightly twisted together, and so therefore it shouldn't unravel easily. As you can see from the details of the piece, the rose knots are snugly attached onto the base wall hanging, so make sure you guys watch all the way through to see how that is done. So whether you're looking to decorate for Valentine's Day or you're just looking to add a handmade touch to your home decor, this project should be right for you. And with that said, let's get right into it. To begin, you will need some materials and supplies. I've used 4mm macrame cord for the base pattern, along with a 9-inch wooden dowel. And for the base part of the wall hanging, I will be using 4mm single strand cord in natural from our rainbow cord line. This is a nice sturdy cord, perfect for all skill levels. And then for the rose knots that we will be making onto the base pattern, I will be using 5mm single strand Giza cotton cord from our Lush line. Giza cotton has a soft, shiny, luxurious feel to it, and because of that, it can really bring out the contrast and the depth of the knots when used. For more details on the cord and supplies I've used in this tutorial, you can check out the video description below. To begin, we're going to attach all 16 strands of 200cm long cords folded in half, one by one, onto the dowel using Lark's head knots. Here we're going to start on our base pattern with a row of square knots from left to right. So starting with the far left 4 cords, make a square knot, and then continue 4 cords at a time all the way to the right for a row of square knots. Now we're going to add a second row of square knots. So starting in between any 2 square knots from the first row, we're going to take the middle 4 cords there and make another square knot. Then continue all the way to the left and right for a row of square knots. Now add a third and fourth row of alternating square knots underneath. Now we will add a few square knots in the center and then on the left and right sides to form the top part of the heart shape that we're going to form in the middle. So to do that, we're first going to start off by making 2 alternating square knots in the middle. So make the first on the middle left center and then make the second one on the middle right center. Then directly underneath and in the middle, we're going to add a square knot. Then on the far left side and on the far right sides, make a square knot. We are now going to start our top row of rose knots. Taking one strand of 38cm long cord, we're going to fold it in half, and on the loop end, we're going to twist it over several times. And then once you have a good twist, we're going to take the loop end and we're going to bring it through the center. But we're going to pull it on tightly like an overhand knot. And so you should have a tightly twisted rose knot here. Now to attach the rose knot onto the pattern, we're going to take the left and right cords from the rose knot as working cords, and then the 2 cords to the left of the middle 2 cords. So that means skip the middle 2 cords and then take the next 2 cords to the left as anchor cords and make a square knot. Once done, the rose knot will sit on top of the pattern. So for the rose knots, you don't have to use 5mm cord if you don't have that. 3mm, 4mm, or 5mm will work great for this pattern, and will work great, of course, for rose knots. Take a second strand of 38cm long cord and do the same thing, and we're going to continue adding rose knots onto the top part of the heart-shaped pattern. So taking the next 2 cords right beside the middle 2 cords on the base pattern, we're going to attach this rose knot there. Once this rose knot is done, repeat this pattern 4 more times over to the left side. So 2 cords at a time. I'm alternating colors of rose knots here. You can do them all the same color or alternate them as you would like. Once we have our first 6 rose knots on the left side, we're going to repeat the exact same thing on the right side. So take a 38cm strand of cord, make a rose knot, then attach it onto the right 2 cords to the right of the middle 2 cords. So you should see here that the middle 2 cords of the base pattern don't have a rose knot on them yet. We're going to attach this rose knot on the next 2 cords to the right. Then continue this 2 cords at a time for 5 more rose knots on the right side. Now we can take another rose knot and attach it onto the middle 2 base cords. Once the top portion of the heart is complete, we can now continue with our square knots on the base of the pattern. So to do this, we're going to take the middle left 4 cords. So starting with the middle left cord, count 3 more cords after that, and those are the first group of cords to start off with for a square knot in the center of the heart. Then take the next 4 cords to the left and make another square knot. For the ends of the rose knots, make sure you tuck them in behind the base cords before you make the square knots. Then make 1 more square knot over to the left side. Now repeat the same 3 square knots on the right side. So starting with the middle right 4 cords, make a square knot, then make 2 more consecutive square knots over to the right. Now we're going to continue filling in the center of the pattern with alternating square knot rows until we have a V-shaped square knot pattern. So starting underneath the left 2 square knots, make a square knot, then continue all the way to the right, and then continue repeating this until you have 1 knot left at the bottom row. Now on the left side, we're going to take the far left 4 cords and make a square knot. Then add another rose knot onto the 3rd and 4th cords from the left side. With the 2 cords underneath the rose knot we had just made, take these 2 cords and then the 2 cords next to it to the right and make a square knot. Then repeat the same pattern on the right side. Now with the square knot we had just added on both sides of the base pattern, fill in the diagonal rows merging at the bottom center. Before we continue with the rose knots, we're going to continue forming the heart-shaped pattern in the center with the base cords. So on the left side of the pattern, we're going to add another square knot with the left 4 cords, so inside the heart. And then we're going to continue diagonally to the bottom with a diagonal row of square knots. Then repeat the same thing on the right side. So now you can see in the center we have a heart-shaped pattern from the square knots we have made. Now we can finish the rose knots at the bottom of the heart. So take another rose knot and add it to the second and third cords from the left. Then underneath we're going to do something a little bit different. Instead of attaching the next rose knot onto the adjacent two cords, we're going to take the bottom right cord from the rose knot we had just made and then the cord next to it on the right and attach the next rose knot there. Then for the remainder of the rose knots to the bottom, we're going to work with two cords at a time for the rose knots. So taking the adjacent two cords to the right, attach a rose knot, and then continue that pattern all the way to the bottom. Now repeat the same thing on the right side, starting with the second and third cords from the right, attach a rose knot there. Then taking the bottom left cord from the rose knot, and then the cords next to it to the left, make another rose knot. Now for the remainder of the row, we're going to take the adjacent two cords and attach rose knots there, and we're going to continue this pattern all the way down. And then last but not least, take one final rose knot and attach it onto the bottom middle two base cords. Adjust the rose knots as necessary to give them a little bit more space, straighten them out, and make them as neat as possible. And now to close off on the bottom part of the base pattern, we're going to start on the far left side with the far left four cords for a square knot. Then we're going to make a series of alternating square knots underneath. So taking the bottom two cords from the square knot we had just made, and then the two cords adjacent to it on the right, make an alternating square knot, and then continue this diagonal row of square knots all the way to the bottom. Now repeat the same thing on the right side, starting with the far right four cords, make a square knot, and then we're going to continue diagonally over to the bottom middle. Once both sides are done, we can take the middle four cords at the bottom and make a square knot. Then all that there's left to do is fill in the left and right sides with square knots until they reach the bottom row here, and then add a few more full rows of square knots. Add 3 more full rows of square knots underneath. And now the knotted section of the wall hanging is complete. All that there's left to do is trim the fringe at the bottom. That concludes our DIY rose knot heart wall hanging tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys are interested in projects like this and how to advance your macrame skill set, we do offer more tutorials like this at a more intermediate and advanced skill level over on our Knot Macrame community on Patreon. We go over specific themes on a monthly basis there, and this month we are going over everything shapes. So just like the tutorial we went over today on how to make heart-shaped patterns, how to incorporate different shaped objects into your macrame pieces, and how to create different shapes with just knots. So if you guys are interested in learning more about shapes in macrame, make sure you guys check out patreon.com/bochinat for more details. Let me know what you guys thought of this tutorial in the comment section below, and as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.